All rights reserved. It's prohibited any sort of total or partial reproduction of this book. And that is not true, as you saw. At least a small excerpt can be copied. And also you have citation rights that can also be exercised and are not infringement. So basically, if you take a look at many books in Brazil, you will see this campaign that simply ignores that our exceptions and limitations are really narrow, are really small, but they exist. According to IBDR and their campaign, it's very funny because they say that copying a book is a crime. That is the slogan that they picked, saying copying a book is a crime. But it's funny because what about books in the public domain? What about books that are licensed under Creative Commons and other licenses? What about the small excerpts that the Brazilian law provides? What to do with them? So it's not true to say that copying a book is a crime. And actually, this is the campaign that has been waged in Brazil for the past 4 years. And it's very interesting because inside this campaign, the strategy in the beginning was you notify and you sue, and then you go to the website of ABDR, and actually you could download a settlement agreement that is there waiting for you. So basically, if you are sued by ABDR, you can go to the website and immediately sign this settlement agreement, and in return, they give you 40% of discount in the books. So basically, it's great. Like, it's a very nice sales technique. You sue your customer, and then if you want to get rid of the lawsuit, you sign a settlement agreement, and basically then you receive 40% of discount over the books. So this is the situation, how it was waged in Brazil. As a consequence of that, what is going on is that the Brazilian universities are slowly abolishing any sort of copying in their premises. So basically, the operators of photocopy machines, they're simply refusing to copy any sort of book. If you bring a book that is public domain, they don't care. If you bring a book that is CC, Creative Commons, they don't care either. So basically, it created some sort of extremely harsh prohibition on copying books in Brazil whatsoever. So it's very funny because the University of São Paulo, which is the largest university in the country, decided to issue a regulation saying that they would, yes, allow copy of books in their premises, provided that the books were out of catalog, provided that the books were licensed under Creative Commons or other licenses, or under the public domain. So it was a very bold move on the part of the University of São Paulo, kind of threatening back ABDR. And it's very funny because the United States has included this resolution in the criticism against Brazil for infringing intellectual property rules. As you know, every year the United States releases this report that is called Special 301 report, and they give grades to countries. So each country, you're a good boy, you're a bad boy. So you receive a grade. It's worth checking what Spain's grade is. I don't know. You can check that later. So one of the reasons that the Brazilian grade was not A, was like B minus, was because the University of São Paulo passed this resolution saying that it is possible to copy public domain books. It's possible to copy out of catalog books, and it's possible to copy CC books. So Brazil was criticized internationally by that, just to give you a sense. The civil society reaction came mainly from the consumer protection entities. The same people that check the quality of your shampoo, they kind of get really angry about this, and they created this sort of movement called Copiar é Preciso, and they actually released a study which is very interesting that demonstrates the situation of books universities. So this Consumer Defense Institute called IDEC, they released this study saying that in law, economics, and business schools in São Paulo, from the books that were assigned by the professors to the courses, 17.4% were not available. Courses like economics would have 49% of the books not available. 38.5% of the books were not available. 54% of the books assigned to the students were neither available at the library nor for sale. So you couldn't buy and you couldn't get them from the library. So they were impossible to get unless you copy them. The total price for books for 6 months, for the first 6 months universities, was approximately 2,500 reais. That means $1,200. So it's pretty expensive if you consider how much is the minimum wage in Brazil. And the price of the books that were not available were approximately 583 reais. In average, it was approximately $220. And courses like economics, it would range to more than $500. And the percentage of books per each 100 students was approximately 5 books for every 100 students in these universities. So basically, you cannot rely on the market to get the books. You cannot rely on the libraries. So basically, sometimes the only way to get access to the books that are assigned for your reading is basically copying them, because otherwise they are completely unavailable. And another reaction came from the students themselves that created this movement that is called Copiar livro é direito. Copying a book is a right. So basically what they wanted is to demonstrate that there are certain cases in which you definitely have the right to copy books. And this was a movement that was organized in Brazil as a reaction against this witch hunt that was waged on the part of the reprographic rights organization. Okay, so that's for the present, and let me talk a little bit about the future. One of the challenges that we are going to have from now on is about how to reorganize information. How do we recombine the way that information is organized? Because what's going on is that information and knowledge is already abundant. We are overwhelmed by the amount of knowledge and information that are accessible to us. So what is scarce now is not information in itself, but it's the ways to organize information in ways that we can deal with it. We don't have time. We need information to be organized in order that we can cope with it. And in order to reorganize information, we have to recombine it. We have to be able to establish links between concepts. We have to be able to reprocess information. Otherwise, abundant information is not useful at all. We just need reorganized in many different ways information. And one of the prerequisites for that is precisely the copyright issue. We need to solve the copyright problem, because you cannot recombine information and knowledge without getting permission.